Oh, I'm late to my own show. How dare I? What's up, everybody? I'm Ari Temkin. This is Showtime. Every day, noon central, right here on Phantom. The New World Order of Sports Media. Thank you all for being a part of today's stream. Thank you all who are a part of the stream every day. Without you, I wouldn't be able to do it, because this is an interactive show that fully engrosses the audience in the content. So your participation is absolutely categorically paramount for this stream. So thank you all for being a part of it every day, whether you're watching on Phantom, whether you're watching on the Dallas Cowboys America's Team page, the Dallas Cowboys Really Real fan page, Law Nation, Silver and Blue Nation, Big Game James, whatever page you are watching this on, thank you very much for being a part of the show each and every day. Just trying to bring this up so I can see the comments and make sure everything's kosher. All right, there we go. Hey, it's working. Yesterday, I could not, for the life of me, get this damn stream to work without lagging. Today, though, it seems to be working just fine. Diego Maestas says, hey, from Santa Fe. What's going on with Randy Gregory? I'll get to that in a moment. G. Garcia is watching in McKinney, Texas, just north of me in Plano. Kerry Teagle in Houston, Texas. Sean Moore says NWO for life. That's right, baby. The new world order. Phantom is the new world order of sports media. Chris Bennett from Austin. Shout out to all those folks watching across the Phantom page at facebook.com/watchphantom. Bring me your questions. Diego, I'll get to your Randy Gregory question here in a moment. But first, I want to make sure to share this post. All the places that I need to share this to. Hold on one second. There we go. All right. Everybody hit the share button too, if you wouldn't mind. That would be fantastic. I would very much appreciate everybody chiming in on the shares. That would be great. All right, let's get down to it. Randy Gregory, the latest on him. If you were able to catch the post-game show Sunday night, I host the post-game show along with Jesse Holley on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, 105.3 The Fan. Right after the game, Sunday night, preseason week number 3, Jason La Canfora of CBS tweeted that he was hearing that there was more trouble on the way for Randy Gregory. There was nothing else after that that substantiated that, but obviously it had Cowboys fans in a tizzy as we were trying to figure out what was going on with Randy Gregory. And obviously he's on a very thin line. He's on a very thin rope with the NFL, so he's got a lot of hoops he's got to jump through in order to stay eligible to play in the National Football League. So today it was reported that Randy Gregory was going to be meeting with NFL official doctors where they could basically make a diagnosis on whether or not he was going to be available to play for the Cowboys Week 1. There's been no confirmation on whether or not this is just part of, this is just a consistent part of, his agreement, or if this is something completely, new that's based on some revelations that have come out recently on Randy Gregory. But bottom line, he's meeting with league doctors to determine whether or not he's available to play. We know that the terms of his, being reinstated in the NFL are very stringent. There's a lot of things he has to do. So, it bears to reason that, one, either this could be consistent with what he's had to do. This is just consistency with part of the reinstatement process, or if this is brand new. Either way, we have heard that we will hear the latest on that a little bit later on. And this is, Randy Gregory is a guy that's been the talk of camp. They were really slow to bring him along. I was in Oxnard, California, the first week of camp, and I saw him participate in one walkthrough in that first week. I talked to him off on the side after practice. He said he felt better than he's ever felt. He basically said that he thought the Cowboys couldn't believe how good a shape he was in. They made him run they made him run twice to make sure that he was in shape. They do the in shape test to make sure you've been doing your homework during the offseason for all these players before they started camp, and the conditioning test. And they made him take it twice because they were so shocked at how well he was in shape. So Kerry Teagle says he lost contact with his liaison for a day or two. Is that true? I haven't heard that, but that could very well be the case, because again, the process and what he has to go through for reinstatement, there's a lot. It's elaborate. I mean, it's not just taking drug tests, guys. I mean, this is checking in constantly. So Kerry, let me know where you're hearing that from, because I haven't heard anything about that, but that could very well be true. I'm not disagreeing or saying that's not true. It probably could be very well be the reason. But as far as Randy Gregory, he's been one of the main bright spots of camp, especially along the defensive side. He's looked really, really good. He had his best game this past week, preseason week 3. So it was crazy that he had this great game. He sacked the quarterback in week 3 of the preseason, and then immediately after the game, Jason La Canfora is like, I'm hearing there's more trouble for him. So we'll have to keep our fingers crossed on the status of Randy Gregory, because he's been a beast for them. And if he can get back on the field, this is a guy. You look at Randy Gregory and Jalen Smith were two guys the Cowboys drafted in the second round that some had, myself included, left for dead in the NFL. And they've been the two biggest bright spots for the Cowboys defense the entirety of camp. Sean Moore says JJT reported that. Cool. Oh, and DDP from Derek Kirby from the Dallas Prospect. Awesome. I did. It's funny, Sean, you say that, because I was reading up on JJT's tweets, but didn't see that was the report. So appreciate that. All right, on the Dallas Cowboys America's Team page, Mary Edwards Wright checks in. Mary Edwards Wright, how are you? David Rodriguez Diaz gives me the hello. Neil Favre, my buddy, what's up? Art Barrera says, what's up? Neil Favre says about Gregory, I believe it's just part of the process about him having to deal to go get tested at a doc's office. Let's see the rest. Doc's discretion is instructed by the league. I'm not sure the answer to that. Obviously, if JJT is, Jean-Jacques Taylor from ESPN Radio in Dallas and from NBC 5 in Dallas, he's been pretty at the forefront seemingly on all of these reports that have come out when it comes to Randy Gregory. So I certainly trust what he's saying. Ray Galvan gives me the thumbs up. Thumbs up, Ray. Dave Kinney says hello. Dan Orlovsky in the house, not the quarterback. Dave Kinney asks if Noah Brown's going to make this team. No. They're going to keep 6 receivers, presumably. The 5 locks, we already know them. Alan Hearns, Cole Beasley, Tavon Austin, Michael Gallup, and Terrence Williams. The 6th will either be Lance Lenore or Deontay Thompson. So Noah Brown will not make this football team. Dan Orlovsky asks, what time's the Gregory meeting? I'm not sure. I don't know that we know. Although, Sean Moore, do you know? Dan Orlovsky says, is Chaz Green gone? I don't know that that's been decided yet. Depends on if they're going to keep 8 or 9 offensive linemen. Kadeem Edwards is certainly in that conversation, and maybe Chaz Green as well. Wayne Bledsoe says, are they going to slack off the Houston game like they have the others? Even more so, because the 4th preseason game is the ultimate slack-off game. Joe Tajernia says hello. Dwan Scott says hello. Hello, Dwan. Hello, Joe. David Salvador says, shout out to SSC. Shout out to SSC. I'm going to really miss Jason Witten this year. It's from Wade Bledsoe. All right, let me check in on the Dallas Cowboys Really Real fan page. Shout out to the folks watching over the Dallas Cowboys Really Real fan page. Let's see here. I want to make sure I'm getting to everybody's comments, and it's just me commenting there. Everybody hit the share button while I scroll through all the different pages we're broadcasting on. Make sure to hit the share button. And if you're watching on YouTube through the Law Nation 2.0 page, shout out to you. I'll get to your comments in a moment here, so be patient. Make sure, though, to go subscribe to the Phantom Facebook page, or YouTube page, I should say. Watch Phantom, search that on YouTube, and make sure to hit the subscribe button. And we've got a big thing coming out tomorrow that we're really excited about across the Phantom Network. All right, on the Big Game James page, shout out to Big Game James. And if you don't know, if you're watching this and you're a Cowboys fan, you don't know who Big Game James is, just go to Facebook and search Big Game James. Check out his page. He does great Cowboys content along with producer G. So shout out to Big Game James. Matt Cannon gives me the thumbs up. Marcus Robertson waves. Javier Flores gives me the thumbs up. And Javier Flores gave me 5 stars. They're Cowboy stars, but 5 stars nonetheless. Thanks, buddy. All right, Silver and Blue Nation. Producer G and Big Game James. They're with the Silver and Blue Nation. All right, Bear there on the comments. All right, let me check out EBSN Online, and I'm going to round out the various platforms for Producer G, Gary Likens, and Big Game James, EBSN Online. Every Buckeye Sports Network, but they also do a lot of great Cowboys content. And let me just check out that page real quickly. Thank you for everybody's patience, but ask your questions, and I'll get them answered as quickly as I possibly can. All right. Sean Moore says, yeah, it was on local news with Newey. Looks into Magic 8 Ball. It's unclear. The status of Randy Gregory, the Magic 8 Ball told you it's unclear. Sean, I didn't realize you were local. Where you live, Sean? It's cool to find out who's in the Dallas area. Because, I mean, I know Cowboy Nation stretches far and wide, but it's really cool to find out who's in the Dallas area because this show, Showtime, is going to be taken on the road in the upcoming weeks. And we are going to be at the Irishman Pub the week of September 10th. So the week leading up to the Giants game, week 2, this show, Showtime, will be broadcasting live the entire week from the Irishman Pub in Dallas. It's at Frankfurt and Coit, I believe. Frankfurt and Coit. I'll have to get you a concrete answer on that because now it's escaping me. But it's cool to see who's in the Dallas area so I can beg you guys all to come out and hang out with me while I'm on location, as opposed to like in my house with this green screen behind me with the beautiful shots of Dallas. And it's funny because I've actually been thinking, like, should I go with this backdrop? I kind of just, I don't know, I like this over Jerry World or like the Cowboys field for some reason. But I don't know, give me your input. Ray Pierce is in the house. What's going on, Ray Pierce? Texarkana, Arkansas, born and raised in Dallas. Okay, so you live in Texarkana. So how do you get the local news with Newey Scruggs in Texarkana? How far is Dallas from Texarkana? Like 8 hours? All right, on the Law Nation page, shout out to Law Nation on Facebook. Lawrence Thomas, Law Nation, salute, does fantastic work, and he's doing great work with us at Phantom. Jonathan Aguirre says, go Cowboys. Robert Holm, my buddy's in the house. What's up, Robert Holm? Robert Holmes says Gregory is fine, all part of reinstatement. I'm not so certain about that. Richard Allen Schiltz says I hope he's okay. And then Warren Duncan asks if I think Mikal McKay makes this team. No. However, he is a prime candidate for the... He's a prime candidate for the practice squad. John Dyer says he prefers the Arlington skyline. That would be roller coasters and Rangers Ballpark and Jerry World. 2.5 hours. Wow, Texarkana is a lot closer than I thought it was. I was like, 8 hours? I don't know. I can't look at a map. All right, the Dallas Cowboys report. Let's see here. Joe Tranchina says, hey, you're back. I am indeed. Kevin Rybinski says NWO. LMFAO. Phantom is the New World Order sports media. Pat Ross says, tuned in from Rochester, New York. Go Cowboys. Kevin Rybinski says, DC for life from Virginia. Jason Wright says, what's up, Ari? Biggest question from Jason Wright is the receiving core. Hard to disagree. It's the ultimate question, and this is a topic I will get into on the Cowboys Beat, which is my podcast, which drops every single Friday. So make sure to check that out. But, so Tony Romo was on a radio show earlier this week, and he brought up the lack of a number one receiver for the Cowboys. And he basically mentioned, like, what are they going to do in third down situations when teams play them cover one? And so basically meaning everybody's on the outside, they're playing them straight up, and then they just take a guy like Cole Beasley and double him. And then basically say, the rest of our corners, we're going to play you one-on-one on an island and make you beat them. Which is it's a legitimate question from Tony Romo. That's, when you think about number one wide receivers, that's what they're talking about, is a guy that in a one-on-one situation is going to win that every time. And because of that, Dak Prescott's like, all right, I got Dez on one-on-one, I'm going to go to him. That was... The Dez being in Dak's ear all the time was because Dez, when he got one-on-one matchups with Romo, was like, hey, dude, give me the ball. I'm one-on-one. I can win that every time. So will the Cowboys have a guy like that? It's a major question for this team, and probably one of the most important questions for their success this season. Now, I'd submit to you Michael Gallup. He's at a really good training camp. He seems to be the guy they've targeted with their first-team offense on third-down situations. We saw that in the Cincinnati game, preseason week 2. A couple of drives, first-team offense. The one drive where they had a scoring play, or the one drive they had a touchdown in the Cincinnati game. I believe it was the second drive for that first-string offense. They had 2 third-down situations. They went to Gallup on both of those and converted. So, look, that's a long way from doing it in the regular season, but Gallup could be that guy. Now, it's rare that a rookie wide receiver steps in to be that guy, but Gallup could very well be that guy. Oscar Rodriguez says, what's up from Bowling Green, Kentucky? Oscar, how are you, sir? Kerry Teagle says, Texarkana not far from Tyler and Longview. I should go on out. Texarkana is like right by Arkansas, is it not? I'm really making myself look stupid. Look, I've lived all over this state. Austin, San Antonio, and now Dallas. So basically just in the middle, straight up. When I say all over, I mean central Texas, the north, the central, and the south part of central Texas. Just right, nothing east, nothing west. Earl Campbell to Tyler Rose. John and Meg says, roster bold predictions. Eric Kashani says, in an hour from Tulsa, not sure how far from Dallas. Well, Tulsa's what, 4 hours from Dallas? So depending on how, like, if you're south of Tulsa, you're probably closer. Bold roster predictions. Well, I believe Charvarius Ward's going to be the final cornerback on this roster. So if that's a bold prediction, then that's a bold prediction. Another bold prediction. Rico Gathers will make this roster. Something if you watch my streams consistently, haven't always been, didn't always think was going to be true. Other bold roster predictions. They're going to end up keeping 3 quarterbacks, which I think is a mistake. I mean, think about this. They have 3 draft picks right now in the bubble. Their 4th round pick, Dalton Schultz, 4th round pick. I mean, they have some reluctance to release their 4th round pick from 3 or 4 years ago in Charles Tapper. Imagine them releasing a 4th round pick a few months after making him a 4th round pick. 5th round pick, Mike White. 6th round pick, Chris Covington. Those are 3 guys that might not make this football team. So while they are very much dependent upon their first 3 picks, and that's a huge piece to what's going to play a role in their success this year, and maybe to a lesser degree Leighton Vander Esch, but certainly Connor Williams and Michael Gallup are going to play tremendous roles in their success this year. And then you look at their 4th, 5th, and 6th round picks, those guys might not even make this football team. All right, checking in now on YouTube via the Law Nation 2.0 page. Shout out. Flows Infinite says, yo, what's up, Ari? Buck Burl in the house. Alex T. Young Wilson. Young Wilson says, aloha from Hawaii. Aloha, Young. Bobby from the Funk says, what's up? Sup, Ari from Dino Wallace. Flows Infinite says, I saw Rico telling receivers where to line up. Seems to me like he knows the playbook or alignment at least. LOL. I mean, look, I've said this before. I'll say it again. They don't trust him. It's not as if Jason Garrett is trying to sabotage his own team. Like, they're going to put the best players out there. They're not, they're not trying to just not have Rico Gathers make this team because they don't like Rico Gathers. If they have reservations about his ability or inability to run right routes or to block, that's, I'm willing to believe that that's the case. Now, again, I think he should make this team, especially over Dalton Schultz, even though Schultz is a 4th round draft pick. I think Rico gives you more playmaking ability, which is something you need out of that position. I haven't seen much playmaking or blocking ability out of Dalton Schultz. Let's see here. Dem Boys 27 wants to know what's the news with Malik Collins. Well, Malik Collins hasn't played at all, at training camp in the preseason. So, Malik Collins has been very, very good when healthy. The question is whether or not he can stay healthy. So, they really like Antoine Woods. Antoine Woods has come out of nowhere in camp to become, legitimate 3 technique for them. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with their defensive tackle rotation, with Malik Collins. All right, let's see here. Checking back on the Phantom page at facebook.com/watchphantom. Sean Moore says, Kellen Moore is a bad hire, in my opinion. No coaching experience at all. Completely agree with you. G. Garcia says, I don't know how Kellen Moore got a quarterback coaching job. Sean Moore says, word is it's in the soft lips. He got the job because he's Scott Linehan's boy, and the Cowboys are completely and utterly married to Scott Linehan on the offensive side. I mean, think about this. Kellen Moore hasn't won an NFL game. Kellen Moore, as a starter, has 0 NFL wins. Now, not all coaches played, and not all coaches played in the NFL, but it's interesting. He's basically coaching up quarterbacks that have significantly more wins than him. But, you know, the reality of the situation is if the Cowboys underperform this year, then you don't have to worry about anybody on the coaching staff except for the guys that you like, potentially, and Chris Richard. But Linehan's gone, Garrett's gone, and Kellen Moore is gone. If they don't make the playoffs, that's my opinion. All right, let's see what else we got. Law Nation 2.0 on YouTube. Law Nation's in the house. Cover 1 high safety. Single high safety. Joseph Sipes says Byron will play some safety for sure. He will not. Chris Richard was asked about that. They're not moving Byron Jones back to safety. He's going to be corner. Let's see here. Bobby from the Funk says keep Rico facts. Law Nation says they don't know how to develop him. Flows Infinite says facts, Law. Yeah, I mean, it's a bizarre situation. You know, either they haven't developed. I mean, remember what happened with Rico Gathers last year, guys? You know, he suffered a concussion in the preseason, so he went into concussion protocol, and then he didn't make the roster, and some people thought, well, that was like a savvy Cowboys move that would allow them to not, you know, because they figured if they cut him, he'd get picked up by somebody else. But if they were able to slide him on an injury sort of situation, then he wouldn't count towards their 53, but they can keep him under their control. But then there was a point in time where he seemed to be ready to come back, but they weren't ready for him, and it was this weird situation. And I think towards the end of the year, he even made some comments publicly about how he didn't understand why he wasn't playing or on the roster. It's been a very weird career for Rico Gathers with the Dallas Cowboys. The thing that I find interesting is, you know, I don't know how much interest there would be if they released him. Maybe there would be. Maybe he'd sign somewhere else. But this is a guy that hasn't ever played a real NFL game. 0 NFL appearances. So, I mean, I see the upside there, but I just don't know that people would be as foaming with the mouth to pick up this guy as everybody seems to think he would be. All right, I'm going to share this to a few Cowboys pages. If you wouldn't mind, try and do the same. That would be great. I'd very much appreciate that. And then I'll get back to you in a moment. But keep posting your comments and your questions. Hit the share button. I'm Ari Temkin from 105.3 The Fan. You can always catch me on the pre- and post-game show. Pre-game show starts tonight at 6 o'clock across the Dallas Cowboys radio network. Kerry Teagle asks, do we use the fullback? Haven't seen much of him. Yeah, we've seen a little bit of Jameis Olawale. Let's see here. All right. I think that should be good. All right. Let's see. Checking back now on the Dallas Cowboys America's team page. Carlos Zapien says Michael Gallup can win one-on-one battle, so can Tavon Austin and Hearns. We shall see. Billy Burke says, can the defense overcome the big third down problems last year? We hold good, then give up third down. So, Billy, that's a great question. And the answer to that question is probably. So the third down issues last year were because of Jalen Smith. Jalen was thrust into a really bad situation last year where, you know, Hitchin was lost, Sean Lee was in and out of lineup, was lost. So they had to play Jalen Smith in that position out of necessity. And he just could not go sideline to sideline, which again, if he didn't have full feeling in his foot, is a very difficult thing to ask somebody to do. If you can't feel your foot to plant it and drive, you're not going to be able to go sideline to sideline. You can go north-south. So, I mean, teams just consistently exploited him. I mean, it was hard to watch. So the answer to your question is, Billy, probably, because Jalen Smith looks like a brand new player. He is not the guy we saw last year. And even if he ends up becoming that guy, they have way more depth at that position that wouldn't leave them so susceptible to a guy like Jalen Smith like they were last year. They had no depth at the position last year. I mean, Anthony Hitchens this year, I don't know where he'd be on the depth chart, but Joe Thomas has played great. I mean, they're going to cut probably Chris Covington, who's a 6th-round draft pick, and has a lot of talent. But that's how good they are at the linebacking spot. Rudy Campos says better Cowboys team this year, Dallas or Oklahoma State. Lamar Hentz says, I look for Glennon to be cut from Zona, be nice backup. Glennon, thanks. I'll stick with Cooper Rush over Mike Glennon. Thanks. Let's see here. Michael Cortez says, why Anthony Brown over Jordan Lewis? Well, I mean, Brown has had a better camp. But, I mean, are you saying that you don't think Jordan Lewis is going to make this team? So Anthony Brown is their nickel corner, but that's just based on performance. But Jordan Lewis is not going to get cut. Curtis Stark says, if Rico wants to make this team, he'd help us more than any other tight end we have. Agreed. Wayne Bledsoe says they could have picked up Adrian Peterson, but didn't. Well, they're fine at running back. Why in God's name would they need Adrian Peterson? John Missack says, LOL, hell no with Glennon. Yeah, I'll take Cooper Rush over Mike Glennon. Ryan Ariano says, our team is led by bad former quarterbacks. Jason Garrett and Kellen Moore. It's fair. John and Meg says, T-Will gets traded, Thompson and Lenore make the roster. That's your bold prediction? Like, guys, T-Will's had a good camp. He looked, I mean, I wouldn't try and get rid of T-Will, especially for unknown commodities like Lenore and Deontay Thompson, who Thompson's been good, but he just can't stay healthy throughout the course of his career. Diego Maestas likes Noah Brown. He says Noah Brown over Lance. I can't get on board with that. I mean, you gotta play at camp. He hasn't played at all, seemingly. All right, let me check back through all the pages. Again, I'm Ari Temkin. Make sure to check out the Dallas Cowboys pre- to post-game show along the Dallas Cowboys radio network, which I am a host of, along with Jesse Holley, former Dallas Cowboy. We're on tonight at 6 o'clock, so 1 hour pregame show tonight before Houston and the Cowboys. But the postgame show should be interesting because there will be a lot of discussions about the 53, the postgame show. So make sure to tune in to the postgame show on 105 through the Fan and across whichever network has the Dallas Cowboys radio network in your area. There's over 300 Cowboys affiliates across this great country. So wherever you live, there's bound to be one. Sean Moore says, what do you think about Lockett getting his payday and Seattle still snubbing Earl Thomas? Yeah, I found that very interesting. I also found it interesting, not even that they snubbed Earl Thomas, but rather that they locked up Lockett. I don't know. I mean, I guess they like him. But I don't know. I mean, some weird receiver contracts that I've seen. Rudy Campos says, where do you feel defense ranks this season in the league? Ray Pierce says, sorry, I already got to go. Keep up the good work. Go Dallas Cowboys. Ray, hit the share button before you go. Ray, hit the share button. Bye. Top 10? But here's the thing about the preseason, guys. Sometimes it correlates. Sometimes guys that have a good preseason end up having a good regular season. Sometimes guys that have good preseasons don't end up having good regular seasons. So it's hard to tell. Now again, their defense, it's not just one guy, it's multiple guys that have looked really, really good along their defense. And again, their front seven looks legit. But it's hard to tell because a lot of times guys will have good preseasons and then flame out in the regular season. So we shall see. All right, shout out to the Dallas Cowboys Really Real fan page. Make sure to go like that page. Shout out to Big Game James page. Let's see here. What do we got? Marcus Robertson on the Big Game James page comments, Skip Bayless thinks we'll trade for Earl Thomas before the season starts. Time is running out. But I also, again, don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility. Kevin Thomas says, because the Cowboys never admitted wrong about draft picks. No teams like to admit being wrong about draft picks. Right? I mean, they want to all be right. So they're willing to hang on to the last thread for those guys to admit that they're right. Although, who is that in reference to, Kevin? Ryan Camarillo says, hope we can beat the Houston Texans tonight. We need to get another quarterback if Dakota gets hurt this season. What other quarterback? Also, if you're a Cowboys fan, my guess is you'd probably rather the Cowboys beat the Texans during the preseason than during the regular season. All right, the Silver and Blue Nation page, checking out the comments across that page. I'll give you a Tyron Smith update in a moment here, Diego. By the way, hit the share button. Let's see here. Marvin Hargrove Sr. on the Silver and Blue Nation page says, I agree about Kellen Moore. I've been saying that about him since he came into the league. What would be another Tim Tebow or Johnny Mason Gill? John Patrick says, hello. Hello, John Patrick. Marvin Hargrove Sr. says, I think Rico Gathers should make the team. The coaches say that he's a horrible blocker. But if that's the case, then what the hell is Chaz Green? With Rico, again, it's not just about blocking. It's also about, understanding basic offensive principles. I mean, this isn't something that I'm saying. This is like the coaches don't have trust in him. Again, I think he should make this team. He's shown more in training camp and in preseason than has Dalton Schultz, but Dalton Schultz is a fourth-round pick. But coaches don't have trust or faith that he knows where he's supposed to be. And so even if he's a playmaker, they're not going to have him on the field much if he doesn't know where he's supposed to be. John Patrick says, do we have an answer for Lee getting injured this year? Yeah, absolutely. I agree the Cowboys absolutely have a plan for have an answer for Sean Lee getting hurt this year if that does happen. Catherine Elizabeth Ramos says, do you think Cooper, how he's playing this year, can he take us forward if something happens to Dak? I mean, there are very few teams that are able to have success after a quarterback gets injured. Now, I know Philadelphia just won a Super Bowl, but I trust Doug Peterson and the Philadelphia Eagles coaching staff considerably more so than I would trust Jason Garrett and his coaching staff. But, I mean, are they going to win a Super Bowl if Dak Prescott goes down? Probably not. But, and I know Marvin Hargrove is bringing up RG3. I mean, Marvin, remember RG3's injury history. So, I mean, you get Dak goes down. What about RG3? And, I mean, he takes a sack, and now he's down, and now what do you do? So, I mean, that's a problem. So, I'm not completely against RG3, and I'd be interested to see if they do entertain bringing him in, if he is, in fact, cut by Baltimore. But, I mean, they're probably going to go with a guy that's familiar. I mean, they're not really outside-the-box thinkers. They're not – Jason Garrett's not necessarily a risk taker. So, cutting a guy that's been here, I mean, you're basically talking about cutting two guys, Cooper Rush and Mike White, assuming they don't cut one of them anyways. So I would say if you're a Cowboys fan that wants the Cowboys to sign another backup quarterback, I just wouldn't hold my breath over that. Let's see what else we got. Marvin Hargrove disagrees with me. Sorry, buddy. Check it in now again on EBSN Online. John Mizak says, like my Broncos with Elway with Paxton shit. Let's see here. Cody Arnold says, bring in Gates for a year. It can't hurt us, especially in the end zone. No. I'd rather keep Rico Gathers, quite frankly. All right, let's... checking out Law Nation on Facebook. Let's see here. Warren Duncan says, cool, can a team steal him if he hits the practice squad? Talking about Mikal McKay. Yeah, I don't think a team, if they cut Mikal McKay, is going to pick him up. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Warren Duncan says, I hope Mike White makes it. Tyson Patrick Sr. says, Tapper. What about Tapper? I don't think Charles Tapper's going to make this team. Mike Camery says, Randy Gregory staying in the field could be huge for them. Also, really liking Cheeto and Jones as starting corners. Agreed there. When I was at training camp in Oxnard, the best player I saw in the Cowboys was Cheeto. It was Chidobe Awuzie. So I think he had his best. He showed the best version of himself in their last preseason game where he was balling out. So he looks every bit the number one corner the Cowboys thought they were drafting in the second round last year out of Colorado, which is obviously a humongous sign. John Mizak says, Rico is 6'8". He's big enough to be a tackle if he can do that, if Tyron Smith goes down. Yeah, but not if he can't block, which is one of the issues they say they have with Rico Gathers. All right, this is the Dallas Cowboys report page. Oscar Rodriguez, what's up from Bowling Green, Kentucky? Joe Tranchina says, let's give Cooper Rush a break. Let's see how he plays tonight before we throw him under the bus. I mean, he's not played well in 3 preseason games, but again, I think if if this is an opinion thing or a reality thing, like, my opinion is not very high of Cooper Rush, but I also, like, the Cowboys are going to have problems if they can't figure out who their number 1 receiver is. The Cowboys are going to have problems if they can't keep defenses honest and complete passes down the field. To me, prioritizing Cowboys' problems, backup quarterback is so far down the list based on the issues that I foresee right now that are like meaningfully getting in the way of their potential of being really good this year. By the way, I'm Ari Temkin. This is Phantom, the New World Order of Sports Media. Make sure to check out a really cool video we got dropping tomorrow. So make sure to like the YouTube page and facebook.com/Watch Phantom. We are going to announce a humongous partnership that we have with Phantom starting tomorrow with the video we've got coming out. So really excited about that. So make sure to stay tuned for that. All right, checking out the Dallas Prospect page, Dallas Prospect, led by Derek Kirby, DDP. No comments there. DDP, we need to work on getting comments from your page, brother. All right, Dallas Cowboys America's team page. I know everybody's hyped over there. We're up to 74 comments on the Dallas Cowboys America's team page. Where are we on the Phantom page? It says 10 comments, but that's fundamentally wrong. All right, let's see here. The play calling is what I will be focusing on most. Can't expect a good season if we run on 3rd and long and pass on 1st every time. We hit the field like last year. Agreed. Kyle, I don't know that they run on 3rd and long every time, but yeah, they do run a ton on 1st down, which is not a good move. Let's see here. Sean Moore on the Phantom page says Gallup has won a few battles against Cheetos. I'm pretty excited for what he can do. By the way, everybody hit the share button if you wouldn't mind. It's easy. Just hit share, and then all of your friends will also see this video. Or you can do something else, which is tag your friends that are Cowboys fans. If you tag them in a comment, then they too will see this video, and then they too can get on the stream and become part of the conversation. Kyle's right, you know. Oh, about the play calling? Yeah, absolutely. They need to pass more of the running backs on early down situations. You know, I hate to second guess play calling because it's such a nitpicky way, and there's 50 plays in a game that are called by an offensive coordinator. So, I mean, it's difficult. But, I mean, the analytics tell you that running on 1st down consistently is not a good play. But throwing on 1st down is a really good play. And so is throwing to your running backs on 1st down. And the other thing is, most teams run on 2nd down after an incompletion on 1st down, although the analytics tell you that you should throw on 2nd down if you throw on 1st down and incompletion. Does that make sense? That way, if you throw an incompletion on 1st down, but then throw a completion on 2nd down, you could put yourself potentially in a 3rd and manageable situation. Billy Burke says, tag it away, baby. Thank you. Appreciate that, Billy. Everybody be like Billy. Daniel Root says, we have a better receiving core than we did before. Our defense is a lot better than it was 5 years ago. Our defense will be solid in 2 years. Better receiving core this year than last year? I mean, the biggest question is that cover 1 question, right? I mean, it's the ultimate question on success for this team. You know, can they win the one-on-one battles? Do they have a guy that will always win one-on-one, given a circumstance on a 3rd down where they can put some pressure on Dak Prescott and take away a guy like Cole Beasley? All right, let's see here. Checking back now in on the Law Nation 2.0 page on YouTube. Shout out to everybody watching over on Law Nation's 2.0 page. The countdown is on until November when Law Nation, his initial page, can get back up and running. But great work over on the Law Nation 2.0 page. By the way, if you're watching over there on YouTube, make sure to like our YouTube page. Search Watch Phantom in the search bar at YouTube. And make sure to subscribe to the Phantom YouTube page as well. Let's see here. Joseph Candelaria. What's up? What's up, Joseph? Brian Bradford in the house. Louis Highlife's here. Boomer Sooners in the house. J Farm D's in the house. Steve Mac 23 says, yes, Anderson's been solid the last 2 games, but are probably going to practice squad with McKay. Yes. Brian Bradford says Cooper Flush. Cooper flushed on the toilet. I like Pooper Rush. Just me, though. Oh, and then J Farm D says Pooper Flush. How about Pooper Rush? But Pooper Flush is actually pretty good. Bo or Jackson, or do we keep 4? Well, you're Anthony Lovell. It's to me, Bo Jackson. Bo Scarborough is going to make this team. He'll be the 3rd. The question is, will they keep the true fullback, Jameis Olawale, who's probably a lock, or Darius Jackson? My inclination is to say they're going to keep 4, which is Rod Smith, Zeke Elliott, Bo Scarborough, and then their fullback, Jameis Olawale. So perhaps they'd like to trade Darius Jackson, but it's difficult to trade guys that other teams know are about to be available. So, Jackson's been good, and you could argue that you can make a coherent argument that I'm probably willing to buy to keep Jackson over Bo Scarborough, but my inclination would be to keep Bo Scarborough. David Short says the Cowboys need to invest available resources in making sure the defense will be dominant. That will compensate for any perceived offensive woes. Yeah, but they're built to win on offense. And that's where their money's spent. It's where most of their draft capital's been spent. So, look, I'm an advocate for going to get Earl Thomas. I don't know what the holdup is with Earl Thomas. I don't know if it's on the Cowboys side or if it's on the Seahawks side. I don't know. But certainly I'm an advocate for going out and getting Earl Thomas. Barry B says Michael Gallup's the number 1 receiver. I agree. Joseph Candelaria says 10-6. Louis Highlife says I like Bo better than Jackson. Jackson's way more explosive and has more experience. Well, sure, but Bo Scarborough can run dudes over. And, But I'll tell you the question that I have about Bo Scarborough is health. I mean, this is a guy that's had health concerns. I mean, all throughout his entire career. I mean, he had health injuries, had a lot of injuries at high school, had a lot of injuries in college. So, that's a question, right? Do you keep a guy like Darius Jackson who, was signed with Cleveland last year, but then had an injury, or a guy like Bo Scarborough? If there's questions about either of their ability to stay healthy. Joseph Candelaria asks, how is LVE? He's trying to come back from that groin strain. There's a question on whether or not he'll be back for September 9th, their opener. He's not had a good camp. He's been in and out of the lineup with injuries. He certainly hasn't looked like a first-round draft pick so far, but it's just the beginning of his career. However, my co-host at 105 to the Fan for the pre- and post-game show, Jesse Holley, was asking if Leighton Vander Esch would be criticized as much as Taco Charlton was last year, which I don't know. Let's see here. Sean Moore says, who's ready for some terrible football tonight? Boy, is it going to be terrible. I'm really happy it's only a 1-hour pregame show, to be honest with you. JJ made it clear the fullback is staying. Right. And I mean, I'm pretty sure he's a lock to make this team. I mean, they're going to need a fullback, I guess. I've been told the Cowboys need a fullback. I mean, not all NFL teams have one, but apparently the Cowboys do need one. So Jameis Olawale will be that guy. By the way, Jameis Olawale's wife at training camp was wearing a shirt that had Beyonce in the middle, and it said, "Death to Side Chicks." Just a little something I thought you should know about Jameis Olawale. Eric Kashani wants to know where the game is streaming. That I couldn't tell you. Cody Arnold says Chaz will give up 3 sacks, over or under. Tonight, if he plays the whole game, I'll give him 3 or 4 sacks. Yeah, probably take the over too. Diego Maestas says I wouldn't be surprised if they seek out a quality tight end. Where? I mean, the teams just don't cut quality guys. I mean, you're basically playing lottery tickets if you're, focused on the waiver wire after cutdown day. All right, back to the Law Nation 2.0 chat on YouTube. Anthony Lovell wants to know if there's any other safeties beside from Earl Thomas that could help this team. There doesn't seem to be a wealth of guys that are available. This is the bet the Cowboys made. I mean, they had plenty of chances this offseason to sign guys. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu was available. And it's not like he signed with Houston for a ton of money. Why don't they sign Tyrann Mathieu? I mean, why didn't they? Cowboys did absolutely nothing to improve the safety position this offseason. So, like, they don't get to play the woe is me card when it comes to their lack of depth at safety because you're basically talking about losing one guy. What's the problem? You're counting on one guy, and by the way, that one guy, Xavier Woods, could very well come back in week 2. So now all of a sudden it's not as big of an issue if that guy comes back week 2. Sean Moore, bring back Mike Lucky. How about Gavin Escobar? Bring back Gavin Escobar. He's probably available. Carlos Zapien says, no one's saying this, but we need a backup center also. I've heard a lot of people saying that. Well, I mean, they literally do because at this point, they've got a guy named Onasorgi who is going to be starting tonight, he's their backup center now. So, yeah. That is the one area where I could see them picking up somebody that could be available potentially. All right, Big Game James, let me check back in there. I want to thank you all for being a part of today's stream. I stream every day at 12 noon. Yesterday, my apologies to all you great folks who tried to stream this but couldn't because of my technical difficulties, but it looks like we're back and better than ever, baby. Also, if you like what we're doing here at Phantom, make sure to support our sponsors because they are what keep the lights on for us. So check out BetDSI.com. It's only a game until you bet. Go get your NFL futures bets in now. Take the over on the Dallas Cowboys at 8.5. 8.5 wins for the Cowboys this year. Take the over at BetDSI.com. It's easy. All you have to do is go to BetDSI.com, use promo code PHANTOM, and however much you deposit with your first deposit, you're going to get 100% back from BetDSI.com, up to $2,500. So you go to BetDSI.com, use promo code PHANTOM, and deposit $1,500. BetDSI.com. It's going to give you $1,500. If you put in $50, BetDSI.com will give you $50. So go to BetDSI.com now, sign up for an account, and use promo code PHANTOM. All right, on the Big Game James page, Marcus Robertson says we should get Kaepernick for a backup. Well, Marcus, he's suing the league. So you also have an owner and a general manager who said that he wants players that are going to stand for the national anthem. I mean, I said this on my radio show when Colin Kaepernick was released by the San Francisco 49ers. He was never going to play in the NFL again. It was as true then as it is today. And my co-host at the time was like, oh, no, he's good enough that NFL teams don't care as much about that they're willing to overlook that because there's such a lack of talent at quarterback. Colin Kaepernick will never play another NFL game again. I'm not saying that's what it should be. I'm saying that's what it is. Cody Arnold says, I'm interested to see roster cuts tomorrow. Has to be a tight end in there that can contribute. I mean, they have other needs. I mean, when you think about roster cuts, it's not like they have to then make it. Like, we've been hemming and hawing about which guys are going to make this team, and it's hard to cut the roster down to 53. Now think about what positions they're going to really need to invest in, in order to bring somebody in. So, I mean, you bring somebody in from the outside, you have to cut somebody else, and we've already had all these issues with who's going to make this team. So, I imagine they'll be somewhat active, after the 53 cut downs, but I don't know how many players they're going to bring in, 2 at most. So what are the positions then that they're going to need? Safety and interior of their offensive line. All right, Silver and Blue Nation says, Catherine Ramos says, because we're not willing to pay. Willing to pay what? Who? Marcy Shabazz says, I need to know your record for the season. Let's go first 5 games. Marcy, I've predicted 10-6. I've basically predicted that all off season, and I predicted that based on one thing and one thing alone. I think their running game is going to be really, really good. They have one of the best offensive lines in football, one of the best running games in football. So if they have those things, a healthy Zeke, a healthy Travis Frederick, a healthy Tyrod Smith, and a healthy Zach Martin, they're going to be a top 5 offense based on their running game. So I predicted 10-6. Now, Travis Frederick has this illness. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. Tyrod Smith has... Now, somebody earlier mentioned the bad back. Now, he has a bad back in history, but he's actually been dealing with a hamstring issue, I believe. So, that's where the Cowboys are at right now. All right, let's see. What else we got? Just trying to get through everything else. By the way, make sure to check out the pregame show, the postgame show tonight. Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, 105.3 The Fan. I will be along with Jesse Holly at 6 o'clock, again, Central Time. And the post-game show will be a lot of fun as we're just going to be breaking down the roster. And Jesse and I, tonight during the post-game show, will be giving you the 53. So make sure to check that out. Also, G. Garcia says, F it, bring back T.O. Damn right. All right. Also, the Cowboys Beat, my podcast. Make sure to go subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher or download the CLNS Media app. Wherever you get podcasts, make sure to check out my podcast, the Cowboys Beat, and also give us a rating. That would be very helpful. What else? Anything else? What else we got? Anything else from you folks? Let's see. Law Nation's Facebook page. Tyson Patrick Sr. says just Zeke. No, 5. I don't know what that means. Sean Moore says he can run like the wind. That's for sure. He got faster running from his baby's mamas wanting their child support. That's not funny. I mean, it is, but it's not. But it is. But it's not. But it is. G. Garcia says, what's up with all these injuries? Who's our conditioning coach? He needs to be cut. I mean, do they have all these injuries? It's football. Guys get hurt. They don't have... It's not like they're dealing with more injuries than most teams. I mean, a lot of teams have a lot of injuries. It's just the nature of the beast. Ryan Ariano says, 8-8 despite Zeke with 2,000 scrimmage yards. Red Clapper retains job, makes excuses about depth. You might be right, Ryan. That's pitiful. I'm calling this a no excuses year for Jason Garrett, and if they go 8-8, there's no excuses for him. But you could be right, my friend. You could be right. All right, make sure to check out the Cowboys pregame show, 6 o'clock Central on 105 through the Fan, and then, of course, the postgame show following the Texans and Cowboys game, which will be a lot of fun. We're going to break down the 53-man roster. Thank you all for being a part of today's stream. Thank you to Diego Maestas and Cody Arnold and G. Garcia and Sean Moore and Curtis Starks and Ryan Ariano and Billy Burke and Robert Holm and all the folks watching on the Law Nation 2.0 YouTube page. You guys make this show what it is every day, so shout out to all you folks. I'm back tomorrow. We'll have a first look at the 53, so make sure to check that out tomorrow right here. Same time, same place, 12 noon. See you guys tomorrow, but enjoy